Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWS NFL Week 4 Sunday Night Football. We got a good one here. Buffalo on the road in Baltimore. Let's do it.
Welcome to the SWS. The SWS. SWS. Hey, get the SWS.
All right, like I said, we got the Bills on the road in Baltimore for this one. Ravens are laying 2.5 points at home. Total sitting at 46.5. Let's take a look at the pie charts, and according to this data that I don't trust, action is coming in pretty heavy on the Buffalo side. Over 70% of the tickets, over 70% of the money on the Bills. But again, as I always say, take this data with a grain of salt. So let's get into this matchup. We'll start with some brief head-to-head history here. Baltimore's had some success against Buffalo. 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 matchups against the Bills. 5-1 to the under in their last 6 matchups against Buffalo. So if you've been taking the Ravens and the under in these Ravens-Bills games, you are cashing out. So let's take a look at the Bills offense, and we have a pretty good idea of what this Buffalo offense looks like with Joe Brady calling the plays. They want to run the ball. They want to control the clock. They want to control the pace. 31st in pace, 5th in run frequency. That's what Joe Brady wants to do, and they've been damn good at it. If you look at the efficiency numbers at the bottom here, the rushing numbers, 21st in yards per carry, 13th in success rate. They're not exactly ripping big chunks in the run game. Like I said, they utilize the run game to control the clock and set up opportunities for Josh Allen. And look at the passing numbers. It's been working. I mean, look at their offense as a whole. They're 4th in the NFL in yards per play, 1st in success rate, 1st in EPA. Look at Josh Allen's numbers this year. Amongst 45 qualified quarterbacks, he's 1st in passer rating, 1st in pressure to sack rate, 2nd in completion percentage, 2nd in big time throw rate. Safe to say Josh Allen has done just fine this year under Joe Brady. So how does he match up against this Ravens defense? Well, they seem to definitely be missing Mike Macdonald at defensive coordinator. They were the best pass defense in the NFL last year. They were 1st in pretty much every metric against the pass last year. This year, 28th in yards per pass attempt allowed, 24th in success rate per dropback, 27th in EPA. They've been struggling against the pass this year, and something that concerns me for the Ravens here, one of the weaknesses of this Buffalo offense so far has been pass protection. They're 27th in pressure rate allowed. But here's the thing. Baltimore hasn't shown us much of a pass rush. 22nd in pressure rate, 12th in pass rush grade, 17th in adjusted sack rate. So the Baltimore pass rush hasn't been anything special. Even last week in their win, Dak Prescott was pressured on just 25.5% of his dropbacks last week. That was 25th most in the NFL in week 3. So even in the Ravens win, the pass rush wasn't really doing much. And that's a concern because look at Josh Allen's numbers when given a clean pocket this year. This is nuts. 9.2 yards per attempt. That's 8th in the NFL. 1st in passer rating, 1st in turnover-worthy play rate at 0. He hasn't had a single turnover-worthy play when given a clean pocket this year. Obviously, that's 1st in the NFL. It's perfect. It's 0. A 136.6 passer rating when given a clean pocket. He's been cooking when he has protection. And like we just mentioned, the Ravens pass rush hasn't been doing much. So not a good start here for the Ravens defense. If we pull their defensive numbers back on the screen, what Baltimore has done a great job against this year is the run. And it's weird because it's the exact opposite of last year. Last year, they were the best pass defense in the NFL by far. This year, they're looking like the best run defense in the NFL by far, and they're struggling against the pass. Last year, you could run a little bit on Baltimore. The exact opposite with Mike Macdonald gone, with a new defensive coordinator in here. But I do question the Ravens' run defense numbers a little bit. I'm not trying to poke holes in it, but we do have to point out who they've played. The Chiefs, and they deserve credit for that one. Pacheco, Chiefs can run the ball a little bit. Look at their yards per carry and rushing success rate. These are the Ravens' opponents so far this season. Chiefs, 20th and 2nd. Okay. Raiders, dead last in both. Dallas, 28th and 29th. So look, again, I'm not trying to poke holes in the Ravens defense here, but considering who they've played, we're only 3 weeks into the season. Are you comfortable necessarily saying the Ravens have an elite run defense based on this? They played the Raiders and the Cowboys, 2 teams who can't run the ball. I mean, I'm sure the run defense is solid. You don't put up the best run defense numbers in the NFL through 3 weeks without having a good run defense. But I'm not sure I'm comfortable counting on the Ravens to just shut down the Bills' rushing attack. I will say this will be their toughest test, and Josh Allen's been next to perfect so far this year. Does he look less perfect if the run game isn't going to be there for him? I mean, if you pull up the efficiency numbers again, they're just 21st in yards per carry, 13th in success rate. So it's not like shutting down the run game is some crazy task. It's not that efficient. I like Baltimore to put Josh Allen in a more uncomfortable situation than he's been in so far this season. I'll say that. Now, this Bills offensive line hasn't been creating a ton of space in the run game. Just 19th in adjusted line yards, 26th in run blocking grade, 10th in yards before contact is pretty good. But look at the Ravens defensive front. I mean, top 5 across the board here. So yeah, just doubling down. I do think Baltimore is able to take this run game away. And look at the Bills offense under Joe Brady. When they're not able to average 4 yards per carry or more, points per game drops a whole 5 points from 32.6 to 27.6. So we could see a whole new Bills offense here. Now, we do have to account for Josh Allen using his legs. So far in the season, though, Baltimore has allowed nothing to quarterbacks on the ground. I mean, Mahomes, Dak Prescott, I guess they're somewhat mobile a little bit, not Josh Allen. But so far, the Ravens haven't had problems with that. Just 5 carries, 9 rushing yards, 1.8 yards per carry to opposing quarterbacks. So, I mean, obviously, Josh Allen's going to be the toughest test in that department. But overall, I like the Ravens defense to make Josh Allen uncomfortable. I'll say that. Now, on the other side, we got the Baltimore offense. And honestly, they look pretty good. First in yards per play, 7th in success rate, 6th in EPA. Passing numbers look okay. Rushing numbers look great. We were all concerned about this Baltimore offensive line. They lost so much production from last year, but they're really doing a good job here. 11th in adjusted line yards, 7th in run blocking grade, 4th in yards before contact. They've done a pretty good job in pass protection as well. So hats off to the Ravens offensive line. Lost a bunch of pieces, still producing. And when it comes to the Baltimore offense, sigh of relief last week, right? I mean, in weeks 1 and 2, just 21.5 points per game, 3 of 7 in red zone opportunities, just 6.1 yards per play. Last week on the road in Dallas, 28 points, controlled the clock a lot more, 7.6 yards per play, a perfect 3 for 3 in red zone trips. Lamar Jackson throwing the ball, completion percentage up to 80, over 12 yards per attempt, a 139.4 passer rating. John Harbaugh came into this game with a very clear-cut game plan here, run the ball, 75% run play frequency in the Dallas game compared to 44% in their first 2 games. So they came in looking to run the ball, and who can blame them? I mean, look at the Dallas defense. One of the worst run defenses in the NFL. They might be the worst, actually. 31st in yards per carry, 31st in success rate, 32nd in EPA. So, I mean, no wonder John Harbaugh came in with a clear-cut game plan to run the football. Look at the Cowboys defense. That being said, look at the Bills defense, kind of looking similar to last year. Elite against the pass, struggling against the run. This is the exact same pattern we saw with Buffalo last year. 22nd in yards per carry allowed, 15th in success rate, 27th in run defense EPA. Look at the numbers from the Bills defensive front. Solid pass rush numbers, but I mean, 6th in adjusted line yards is good too, but 26th in run defense grade, 24th in yards before contact. This Bills defense vulnerable to the run. Want to know another thing this Bills defense does? They run a lot of zone coverage. Over 76% of their snaps in coverage this year have been in zone, 9th most in the NFL. Why is that significant? Lamar Jackson kills zone coverage. Over 80% completions, over 10 yards per attempt, over 122 passer rating. And that's not just this year. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL last year throwing the ball in zone coverage. And another thing about Lamar Jackson, he handles pressure very well. In fact, last year, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL when pressured. This year, looking pretty good as well, similar splits. We just got done talking about how the pass rush is the strength of this Bills defensive front. Lamar Jackson, pretty equipped to handle that. And another thing about the Bills defense, not really tested when it comes to dual threat quarterbacks. In fact, if you look at all of last season, they really only saw one, Jalen Hurts. He ran for 65 yards and 2 touchdowns in the game. The Eagles offense in that game scored 37 points. 37. So they struggled with a dual threat quarterback pretty much the only time they saw one last year. Have they seen any this year? Yeah. Kyler Murray, only 162 yards passing, 91 passer rating, but made some plays with his legs. 47 yards rushing, over 11 yards per carry. In case you've never watched Lamar Jackson play football before, he's pretty athletic. He's about as dangerous as it gets as far as quarterbacks running the ball. So I like that for the Ravens as well. I like the matchup for the Ravens offense. I think they're going to score here, which is why I am going with Baltimore here. Trust me, I'm not thrilled with the idea of fading the Bills. They look like the best team in the NFL so far, but we're in week 4. Over the course of the season, we're going to see 4 or 5 different teams emerge as the best team in the NFL right now. The Bills took the torch first. I'm sure Baltimore will have a turn with that torch as well. John Harbaugh, very good in primetime games. Short line here, Baltimore at home. I don't have the record, but I know Harbaugh's a beast in primetime games. I like that. I like Baltimore to get the run game going against a weak Bills run defense, similar to what we saw in that Dallas game. Keep in mind, despite what the final score says, that was a beatdown. The Ravens beat the hell out of the Cowboys. Dak Prescott made some magic there at the end, but the Ravens were decisively the better team for a majority of that game. I like Baltimore to win this one, so give me the Ravens, -2.5. I'm fading the Bills. If you want to see all the bets I currently have open, head over to KyleKirms.com and click on Open Bets. You'll see all mine as well as everyone on the staff here. Also, if you sign up for Sauce Network Plus, it comes with access to the Discord, and you can participate in the weekly betting league. $150, and one of these trophies go to the winner every single week. So if you're interested, head over to the website and sign up. Let's have ourselves a nice NFL Week 4. I had a monster Week 3. Definitely gave some of that back in college football today, but the games are still going on. So I'm definitely down, though. We'll see how college football plays out. I have a lot of action in the late game, so we'll see. But yeah, let's have ourselves a nice Week 4. Please bet responsibly. Talk to you in the Discord.